Facebook something else that, well, I still have Asante, but they're just so hard to get get customers for. And I need something that brings in a little more money more consistently, especially since I've had this accident. I'm now having medical bills that I have to, provide for. So the Social Security just doesn't pack it. So I got to make some money.
Mhm.
And I found that this is probably one of the ways I can do it.
Yeah.
And I'll keep you informed as I progress in doing things. There's just so much to learn. I mean, I've
Yeah.
been watching videos every day trying to catch up with what I should be doing. So today she gave me an action plan, which what I'm supposed to do every day, which will help because I like schedules.
Yeah.
Where I know I need to do this and this and this and this. And of
Yeah.
course, PT and all the other things that come in where I have to, uh, you know, go in for doctor's appointments, etc. Hopefully, they'll be ending this month too. And my physical therapist was very happy about the fact that I had some very good balance for the, uh, you know, amount of injuries that I had to my hip. And he says, "You're doing very well." So I don't have to go back for therapy anymore. I just do things at home myself. So that's one thing I can check off.
That's great. That's great news. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's almost 7:30. I know Amy was going to try to come, but they're having a she's in Wisconsin and she said there's a what'd she call it? Snow clops. You know, you hear like a cyclone, there's a snow clone or snow clap or something like that. So it sounds to me like they're getting snow or something.
Well,
Bad weather.
I can relate to that. We had 4 inches yesterday, but
Did
it's all
ya?
gone today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, March went out like a lion for a lot of places. And I think
Yeah.
April is kind of leaving a little bit of March in it.
Well, it started Easter night and it went all
Oh,
night and yesterday most of the day. And then today the sun came out and it rained and all the snow's gone. So I'm glad that that happened.
yeah. Well, that's great. Glad to hear it. So
Yeah.
tonight, what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk about living a heart-led lifestyle, or what does heart-led living look like? And I'm hoping that you brought a notebook or that you'll take some notes or that you'll be able to engage with us and put in your thoughts, give us your thoughts about what
Okay.
you
Let me get
see.
my notebook.
Okay, what you see a heart-led lifestyle, what you see it looking like. Um, just your thoughts. There's no right, no wrong answer. Just kind of putting it out there for everybody to engage with us and let us know what you're thinking. If you've ever thought about it before, or if you're just more curious about what it could be, and maybe you already are living it and you didn't even know it. So, just throwing it out there. Anybody have any thoughts on what they think heart led living looks like or could be? I know Sandra's our thinker. She's always thinking. She's a thinker.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what a friend of mine had mentioned about it. Let me see how I can articulate this um, best. Um, if I will, I'm gonna give it a try. It's being led by it's being making decisions from your heart, and allowing your heart to guide your your actions and your
Okay.
interactions.
Okay. That sounds good. What do you think, Marianne?
Well, similar to what Sandra said, when you have a heartfelt approach to something, it's not something you read, it's not something that you saw, but that somebody else did. It's something that you feel within yourself. And if you have that uh, strong feeling inside, then you articulate what that feeling is to the people around you. And that seems to give them a more feeling of that you're an authentic person rather than there's somebody just speaking from a monitor and not really talking to them about your true feelings. So that's my feeling of what a heartfelt response is.
Okay, that sounds good. Marcy, did you have I don't know if you can chat with us or not, but if you had any thoughts on it, we'd be happy to hear from you. I know that you were going to be on silent tonight.
I have a question.
Okay,
Is that the same thing as being led by spirit, or is that something else?
we're going to talk about it. We'll get into it. I'm just kind of feeling for where you guys are at, what you think, and what we can learn together. And I don't see anything from Marcy, so what we're going to look at tonight is 4 pillars of a heart-led lifestyle, and one is emotional awareness, another is authenticity, the third one is intuition, and the fourth one is gratitude and appreciation. Marcy says being led by your passions. Okay, I like that, Marcy. That's good. So
do you have a graphic there where you
no,
with
I'm not.
these?
No graphics. No.
So awareness, authenticity, what else?
Emotional awareness,
Okay.
authenticity. I can put it in the chat. Intuition, gratitude, and appreciation.
Okay.
Okay, those are the 4 pillars we're gonna go over. So, just as a brief introduction to living a life that is heart living or led by your heart, or are you living from your heart? Are you operating from your heart? What does it look like, and how can you get there? Um, First of all, what does it look like? It feels good when you decide to take action and do the thing. So that's kind of what it looks like when you're living a heart-led lifestyle. It feels good, and that's kind of like what Sandra was talking about. It feels good when you decide to take action and you do the thing. So, just as a brief introduction, in a world where rationality often reigns supreme, there exists a quiet yet profound revolution, one that beckons us to turn inward, to listen to the whispers of our hearts amidst the cacophony of our minds. Living from the heart rather than the head is not a rejection of logic or reason, but a recognition of the rich tapestry of the human experience that extends far beyond the confines of the intellect alone. It is an invitation to embrace the full spectrum of our humanity, our emotions, our intuitions, our deepest longings, and to allow these inner stirrings to guide us on our journey through life. At its core, living from the heart is about prioritizing authenticity over conformity, connection over isolation, and love over fear. It is a shift from the relentless pursuit of external validation and success to a more soulful quest for meaning and fulfillment. In a culture that often glorifies business and productivity, living from the heart invites you to slow down, to savor the richness of each moment, and to cultivate a deeper sense of presence and gratitude. And I often think about the days when I was working for somebody else and I was just had so much work to do that had to get done, in 8 hours, and then go back to my manufacturing days when I worked in the manufacturer company and worked on a line, and you had so many pieces you had to get done in your 8 hour shift. They always had a count, a quantity. You got to get these many done before you go home, or you get a chance of getting bumped off the line, or you end up getting put in the warehouse, or you lose your job. And that chaotic, crazy life that I remember, there was no heart in it. It was just working, working, doing, doing, no mindset, no heart, nothing, just doing to earn that buck, to get that dollar so I could feed my family. And now that I got out of the manufacturing business, and got into the hospitality business, I could start doing things that was in my heart, things that I love to do, helping people, serving people, preparing a meal for people that people would enjoy to eat. And so when I was going through this, I could see the difference and the changes that has come over my lifestyle over the years. And I don't know if you have thought about the words that I've spoken as to, do you see where you're at today in the lifestyle that you're choosing to live when it comes from the mindset and the heart connection? Anything, Sandra, Marianne?
Well, I think I was always in a position where I had heartfelt decisions that I made. I was never on a production line. I was always in either clerical or supervisory positions. And the people under me would be my friends. I wouldn't be their boss. I always treated them like they were equal to me. And I found myself very satisfied with myself at the end of the day. I didn't feel like I was pressuring anybody. I wasn't pressuring myself. And then, of course, I got into real estate, and that definitely is a heartfelt position. If you don't speak from your heart to your clients, you're going to lose them. So I've had a lot of practice of doing that throughout my working career. So for me in affiliate marketing now, I still try to follow that same rule. Think about the other person, not myself. Think about what's best for them, and what would I do if I was in their position? Would I feel threatened, or would I feel pressured? I don't want that for people that I'm working with. So um, I guess my whole life has been more working from my heart than from a standpoint of, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that. I was one that always tried to make my uh, workplace a better place, easier place, uh, making things like just having revising a schedule so it made it easier on everybody. And so this is not something new to me. It is something that I probably felt most of my life.
Okay. Sandra, did you have any thoughts on what I just went over?
No, nothing comes to mind.
Okay. All right. We'll continue on. So the first key that we're going to look at of living a heart-led life is emotional awareness. So recognizing and honoring your emotions as valuable sources of information about your inner state and the world around you. Operating from the heart involves being in touch with your emotions and recognizing their impact on your thoughts, actions, and relationships. You're attuned to your feelings and those of others, allowing you to respond empathetically and with sensitivity. And, you know, oftentimes when we think about that, living from our emotions can cause a lot of anxiety for ourselves, and it can cause a lot of anxiety for the other person as well. So when we're doing that, we've got to be very careful of how we project our words and our attitudes and our behaviors, because we need to be empathetic and we need to have compassion, and cultivating understanding and kindness towards others and towards ourselves will help us to connect and support those that we are talking to, or our families, or those that are around us. Because empathy is a heart centered lifestyle where we prioritize connection and empathy in our relationships, all of our relationships, not just our business relationship, but our families as well, our neighbor, our church goers, uh, the person at the grocery store. We should still be treating others that way, and you will be seeking to understand others on a deeper level, empathizing with their experiences and perspectives, which fosters meaningful connections that are built on trust, respect, and mutual understanding. So, you know, oftentimes we kind of sometimes I think get a little bit lazy and we find ourselves reacting when someone speaks harshly to us. It could be at the grocery store where you've got a checkout clerk that's having a very bad day and they're just not in a good mood and everybody around them knows it, and we could react in the same manner that that person does, which is just going to escalate the whole thing. Or we can
Mhm.
choose to be having consideration and just think, whoa, this person's really having a bad day. They just need somebody to let them know that they care and be kind. And it'll turn them around in a minute. It'll change their whole day just by choosing to not react, but to choose the way that we want to react, if you know what I mean. Because I think sometimes we just get into that automated mode, and the first thing that comes to our mind is what we do, rather than thinking about what we want to do or how we are going to choose to react. I know I had it happen to me one day when my sister, uh, she kind of she said something to me that I didn't appreciate, and I immediately reacted and went off, you know, very upset with her. But instead of stopping and thinking, I didn't need to even respond. I could have just let it go and it would not have caused a problem. But why did I react like that? Well, because she stepped on my toes. She misunderstood what I was saying. And then I said something and she misunderstood, you know, and it just escalated. So we aren't going to be perfect. But
Yeah.
if we are purposeful in the life that we wish to choose to live and the way we choose to live it and work on it every day, we'll get to be perfect in everything that we do. Even when we mess up, we're going to be that perfect imperfect person messing up, but we have grace and forgiveness, which means we have to give grace and forgiveness to others at the same time. So, your emotional awareness also means that we have to produce compassionate action, because when we operate from our approach and interactions and decision making has to have compassion and kindness. You must consider the well-being of others and seek to elevate suffering, no, to alleviate suffering whenever possible. Your actions are guided by a desire to uplift and support those around you. So, you know, it's the same with anyone when you're talking about communications. When you're talking about communicating with other people, that's why God gave us two ears, right? So we could listen twice as hard as we speak. And if we
From both sides.
listen, what was that, Mary?
I said from both sides.
Well, yeah, listen twice as much as we speak, because, and then not only just listening, but listening to what's not being said, watching the
Right.
body language, you know, having eye contact. Let them know that you are paying attention and not sitting over here on your phone while they're talking. You know, that's not listening. It's not active listening. That is, in my opinion, being disrespectful when someone is trying to have a conversation and you're busy doing something else. And in the same note, we can also be sitting there and thinking about something else instead of listening to what's being said. And it's easy to get caught up in that. It's very easy to be caught up in it. So the premise is to be aware of what we're doing and how we're behaving. So the second pillar is authenticity, where we're going to break down being vulnerable and being true to who you are, because you have to honor your truth. If you're going to be authentic, you better be honoring your truth and expressing your genuine thoughts, feelings, and desires without fear of judgment or rejection. But in order to do that, you have to do it in a respectful and an honoring manner, not just expect that person to understand your words as non threatening. Authenticity is the practice of being true to oneself and expressing one's genuine thoughts, feelings, and desires without fear of judgment or rejection, but speaking sweet words, kind words, making sure that that conversation is letting that door be open to that person, that if there's a problem with the words that's being spoke, that it's okay for them to let you know so that it can be discussed. So it involves aligning your actions, your words, and your beliefs with your inner values and your convictions. And it's called living authentically, which requires courage, vulnerability, and a willingness to embrace both the dark and the light aspects of ourselves. And I think as we grow older and have more experience with conversations that we have with people, we are more aware of a conversation that might have taken place where something gets spoken, but it came out wrong. It was misunderstood. But if it's not addressed at the time of the conversation, it can fester and boil over and become a really big problem. So, living a heart led lifestyle is learning how to be more aware of when those things are happening so we can pay attention to it and catch ourselves and check ourselves and apologize, or at least get more details in that conversation that really speaks to the meaning, the true meaning of what was intended, and not what someone assumed or perception. Other people's perceptions are different. You can say one sentence to 10 people, five of them will have a different understanding of that sentence because it's
Yeah.
the way they perceive the words, the body language, and the volume or the way the words are spoken. So it's not cut and dry. The American language is not cut and dry. The English language, definitely. You've got one word that can have many, many meanings in it. You know, you've got red for color. They read the book, so it's just, it's, it's, it's a very difficult language for people to learn and understand. And I think that's why it makes it more difficult to actually be able to project and speak what you intend other people to be hearing and understanding. Now, what I expect you guys to hear and understand may not be what you do hear and what you do understand, but it's okay. Whatever it is that you guys understand, that's okay because it's your thoughts. You have the rights to your thoughts, and I respect that. And I know that you know that I respect that. So if there is something that's confusing or you need more clarity that you want to talk about and converse, that's where the authenticity comes in, where we have the right to speak what our thoughts are. Now,
That makes sense.
You may have a different thought than I have, and that doesn't mean I'm going to change your mind about it, nor does it mean you're going to change
Jesus.
my mind about it. But we will respect each other's words and allow us to have our own thoughts about the conversation, which I think is an incredible way to be living, because I love it when I can be in a room with people that disagree with me, but they honor my words and I honor their words. You know, it's non-threatening. It's like, no, you can't do that. You got to change your mind. No, no, you can still have the right and the choice to speak and think the way you think. Not there to change your mind, but there to help understand each other. Because in that way, you can learn to understand that person better and get a deeper relationship with that person. So the vulnerability piece is, we have to be willing to be vulnerable. We have to be willing to embrace both the light and the dark aspects of ourselves, because that's what authenticity is. And that's where courage comes into play, is allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. Because embracing vulnerability as a strength rather than a weakness allows us to be open and honest in our interactions, in our relationships. And I know some of you were on the forgiveness training that I did a couple months ago, and you may have learned some new things about forgiveness that you hadn't thought about before, because forgiveness is pretty much learning to let go, because operating from the heart involves practicing forgiveness and letting go of resentment and grudges. You understand that holding on to negative only harms yourself and others, and you choose to release those feelings in favor of peace and healing. So, if any of you have been doing the forgiveness work, you may have been learning that. Or if you've had to do forgiveness work throughout your life, you recognize that the forgiveness work is done for self. It's not to relieve the other person the burden of whatever the consequence may have been for that person and whatever happened. We don't have control over that, but we do have control over letting go and not carrying around that anger or whatever it may be that we've been holding on to for whatever reason. But until we recognize that it's something that we can control, we have power over, and we can choose to let it go, and that's a peaceful place to live. It's a better place to live than to be walking around being angry at someone that doesn't even know you're angry with them or even why you're angry with them. You know, so people are just human. We all need to give grace and allow them to be who they are. Any thoughts on that, Marianne or Sandra?
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm a firm believer in trying to understand where somebody's coming from, especially if they, accost me about something. And many times it's not something about you, but it's something about what they're going through at the time. And they project it towards you instead of releasing it some other way.
Yeah.
And I try to be conscious of that when somebody, talks to me sharply or cuts me off or whatever they do. Not so much now because I'm not out in the public like I used to be, but I'm still conscious of it.
Yeah.
There was a lady in Walmart just before I had my accident, and I was coming out, and she was standing there waiting, and she says, "Oh, I've been waiting for this. Get up to this counter where you make complaints or exchanges or whatever." She says, "Forever," and I just been standing here, and I said, "Well, I really feel bad about that you have to stand here and wait so long." But I said, that's not much that the girls can do up there. They have people they're taking care of that were before you. And then she just kind of smiled at me, and I said, well, you have a good day. And I went on my way. I could have ignored her. I mean, I didn't know her from Adam, but I didn't ignore her. I did stop and talk to her a little bit. And whether it made her feel better or worse, I don't know. But at least I acknowledged the fact that she was having a hard time. So I
That's the
try to
thing.
be.
That's the thing, though, Marianne, is sometimes people just want to know that somebody even cares. You can be in the middle of a room of 20 people and you feel like you're alone and nobody cares, nobody sees you, nobody
Yeah,
understands, and just a kind word from someone gives them exactly what they needed, and then they
yeah,
can go on their merry way. Our world has gotten so harsh, and everybody's out for themselves and nobody cares about anybody else. And,
yeah. Well,
it's,
in my trip from the hospital to the rehab place, there was another lady in the van with me. She was on a gurney, and she was just fighting to they had her tied down for some reason. She finally got her hand out. And when she did, she said, are we on an airplane? And I said, no, we're not on an airplane. We're in a van. We're going to the nursing home. And so she didn't say much after that, but she was just kind of anxious. And so I grabbed her hand and I held it. I said, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Well, I didn't know it till later when he tried to drop her off first and then drop me off. And so there was nobody there to accept her. It was in a home. And so he took me to the nursing home where I was supposed to be taken care of, which I wasn't. And so when he dropped me off, he said, well, I better close these doors. I said, yes, it's cold, out here tonight. And I said, you don't want her to get cold. And I said, I really feel bad for her, that there was nobody there to accept her. And he says, well, she's on her way to hospice. Well, I didn't know that. But I was so happy that I reached out and held her hand and calmed her down a little bit. And so you have these moments where you think, should I do this or shouldn't I? But I just did it anyway. And I think she appreciated it, the fact that there was somebody there that was with her in that journey too. I don't know how long she had to live or anything, but it wasn't a good ending for her.
mm. Well, it's just like, if it had been you, you would have
That's
wanted
right.
someone there. That's the key.
So I made that
Do
trip
unto
all the way
others what you would have them do unto you. Not do unto
there. Yeah,
others what they do to you, but do unto others what you would have
yeah.
them do. Give kindness.
Well,
You want kindness, give kindness. Yeah,
yeah.
that's the
She
way.
was so agitated. I just felt that I had to try to calm her down a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Did you have something, Sandra?
Well, I was just reflecting on one of the things that I um, like the least of all is being vulnerable. I really don't care to feel vulnerable. I like to feel strong and
Mm-hmm.
in charge,
Yeah.
and I have it all together. So when I have a situation where I have to, that I'm forced to be vulnerable, and especially in to have someone else, well, vulnerability for the most part usually means that someone is seeing you uh, uh, in a moment of weakness. So I don't particularly care to have that side of my what is it of my being at that time revealed to anyone. So that's something for me that I struggle with.
Yeah. Yeah, and when we talk about vulnerability, Sandra, it does not necessarily mean a moment of weakness, but
I thought that
it can mean it's like uncomfortable. For example, when I go to church on Sunday, there's this one lady in the church that's very active, and I come in and I come down the aisle, and if she sees me, she'll come up and she'll go, "Oh, you look so cute today. You're so, it's, I like that.
Mhm.
I don't want you bringing attention to me because
Right, right,
really I'm an introvert. If you guys can believe it or not, I am an
Mhm.
introvert, but I don't want that attention brought to me. And so
right.
when I go to church, it's kind of like sneak in and get in my pew before she sees me because I don't want her to, but that's the kind of vulnerability, that some people um, it's something that I know I need to work on because I shouldn't be that way. It could be harmful to who I am to other people when I want them to know I care about them.
Hmm.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's something as far as a weakness that you see a weakness in you.
Right,
So
and that
therefore
and
you don't want the attention to come to it.
right,
But
right.
somebody else might see it as a strength in you.
Yes, and
And that
I've
yeah.
I'm sorry, but I've come to appreciate that distinction, and therefore I'm better able to deal with it. But at the same time, I really don't like feeling uh exposed. And that you mentioned
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
lady at church.
Yeah.
I don't like people to very uncomfortable
Yeah.
when people make me the center of attention.
Yeah.
When I used to work in corporate, they would celebrate. My staff would want to celebrate my birthday, and I don't
Mhm.
want my celebration. I mean, it's nice to be recognized, but I don't want my birthday celebrated. And so it used to be very uncomfortable. Whenever I had my birthday, I always took the day off, so that people won't have an opportunity to
Yeah.
celebrate it and make me
Yeah.
feel not make me feel, and I would feel uncomfortable because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, we're talking about a heart-led lifestyle. And I think that is a piece of us that oftentimes we have to give ourselves permission to allow other people to celebrate us because we are enough and we are worthy. And when we
Mhm.
start to open that door and allow that in our life, it feels good. But
Mm,
I think the vulnerability piece comes up because it's like foreign. It's not something that we've had a lot of experience
you're
with.
right.
So we
You're so
don't
right.
know how to respond. We don't know
Right.
what do I do with this, you know?
Right.
Just take it and put it in my pocket and pretend it's not there.
Right.
And I think that's the piece that we're looking at here in living a heart-led lifestyle is recognizing that we are worthy and that we should be celebrated. And the best way to do that is to start celebrating self on all
Mm,
those little wins, because if
Mhm.
we can celebrate our little wins, then other people will start recognizing it and celebrating us, and then it feels better. So it feels different. But, and that's just that's a piece of growing. And I think as long as we are in a place where we do tend to feel uncomfortable, we know that we need to grow. There's something going on that we need to be working on. And that's where we're going to move into the next pillar, which is intuition. And I think oftentimes many of us really don't pay attention to that tingle, that intuition, that little whatever that's telling us we need to do something. It's telling us it's okay, it's safe, explore it a little deeper, or whatever the case may be. And we all have intuition. It's just many of us don't pay attention to it because we fear it, we don't understand it, we don't know what's on the other side of it, we don't know what to expect, and we assume that what's going to come at us is a bad thing. And that's not the case. And as we learn to pay attention to our intuition, which is key in living a heart-led lifestyle, is making sure that you are trusting your inner wisdom and your intuition to guide you in decision making, problem solving, dealing with other people, even when it may not immediately be logical or rational. And I think that sometimes we find out that our intuition is triggering us. We push it away because it's not rational. We push it away because I don't know where that came from. But the more and more we pay attention to it, the more and more it will come alive, and the more and more it shows up in our life, and it's a blessing and it becomes a gift. You know, there's often times when I'll be thinking about my daughter about some certain thing or whatever. Next thing I know, she's on the phone and she's telling me exactly what I was thinking about. You know, I had a question or a thought about concern or whatever. My mom used to do that all the time. And I know that we all have it. We just might not practice it, or we just choose not to pay attention to it because we don't quite understand what that is. So when we're operating from the heart, it involves trusting your intuition and your inner wisdom to guide you in the decision making and navigating life's challenges. You have to listen to your, and you can call it your gut instinct if you want to, if that's a more relative word for you as far as what is intuition. It's that gut instinct, and honor the guidance of your heart, even when it contradicts your logic. It's like I keep telling everyone the story of the day that I had to go to the dentist, and my dentist appointment was later in the afternoon, and I have to drive like 25 miles to get to the dentist down a very busy highway. I don't like traveling on that highway. And so when I get done, it's like 5 o'clock, which is rush hour.
Right.
And
Is
I
it
have to be,
I-95?
no, it's Capitol Circle here in town. And then I take Interstate 10 to get home. And so, and it's a 3-lane highway of crazy people driving like maniacs because they're on their way home from work and they don't want to stop for anybody. And there's 2 ways that I can get it to the interstate. I can stay on Capitol Circle and then get to, there's like a cutoff at the top of the bridge. There's a cutoff where I can go down and get onto I-10, or I can go under the bridge and go around to the other side of that other intersection that goes and get on. So this day, usually a lot of times I'll take the first exit, which will take me over the bridge to get me on the interstate. But this time I decided, well, I'm just going to go straight. I got down underneath the bridge and got on over the other highway and got up on the path getting on the interstate. And no sooner did I get on the interstate, and I don't think it was maybe a tenth of a mile, severe heavy downpour. It was so bad I could not see to drive. So I've slowed down to like 40 miles an hour, and I'm behind this big truck that's got a it's a construction company, you know, and they have those enclosed trailers that they'll haul their equipment in. I was behind him, he kept tapping his brakes, and I thought, okay, Lord, please, please help me get off this highway. Please take care of me. I can't see to drive. He keeps tapping his brakes. I've slowed down. The traffic's going crazy. And finally, I was able to get around him. And when I got around him and got up in front of him to get off the next exit, which is not my exit, but I was getting off that freeway. It had stopped raining when I got off that freeway. Skies were clear. There was no rain. And then I managed to get myself home. So I was talking to my daughter later on that day, and she was talking to me, and she says, "Oh, did you see that bad accident that was on I-10 today?" I said, "No. Where? When?" It was like about 5 o'clock, she said. I said, "Oh, really? Where?" And she
Oh,
told me, and it was where if I had gotten on the interstate, the first exit to get on, I would have been in the middle of that accident. And it happens to me all the time. You know, I'll be driving and I'll just be moved to, no, don't go home that way. Go this way. Because I can go home multiple different ways to get home from town today, you know, because I live out in the country. And that happens to me all the time. So, but if I choose not to listen to that quickening and turn it off, it's going to get quieter and quieter and quieter until I don't hear it at all anymore. So it's very important that we pay attention to that inner spirit, that intuition that saves us when we don't even know that we needed saving. It protects us when we didn't know we needed protection. We may never ever know that it happened because we were being protected.
Mhm.
So you always want to be listening to those gut instincts and honor the guidance of your heart, even when it contradicts logic or reason. And the wisdom piece of it is where you operate from your heart, which involves trusting your intuition and your inner wisdom to guide you in the decision making and navigating of life's challenges. So you make sure you listen to your gut instincts and honor the guidance of your heart, even when it contradicts logic and reason. Because logic and reason is always going to be that first thing that's going to pop up to try to distract you from doing what you need to be doing.
Mhm.
That either will protect you, give you the right road path, give you the success, make the sale, or whatever it may be in your life. And then the final thing we're going to look at is gratitude and appreciation. And I know many of us are practicing gratitude. We've worked on practicing gratitude, you know, for a long time, especially when you're working with me, because if you don't start your day with gratitude, you're not going to have a good day, right, Marianne?
Yeah.
We always want to start our day with gratitude, count our blessings, because just the fact that we can put our feet on the floor and stand erect is a blessing and a gratitude, so that we can appreciate the beauty and the wonder of the world around us. And heart centered living cultivates a sense of gratitude and appreciation for the blessings in your life. But we must take time to acknowledge them, savor them, because the beauty and the abundance around us fosters a positive outlook and creates a deeper sense of contentment. And you know, I've always been saying, you know, today's a great day. Even when you get up and you don't feel like it's a great day, if you say today's a great day, guess what? Chances are it's going to be a great day. You'll start out a great day, it'll end as a great day. Did you have something, Marianne?
No, I just, people ask me how I feel, and I said, I feel fine. Some days I don't, but I still say I feel fine. Because if I tell myself that I don't feel good, I'm not going to feel good. And
Exactly.
so my answer is always, I'm fine. And
Yeah.
usually it ends up being fine. Uh,
Yeah.
Today during the physical therapy, he kept asking me, are you okay? I said, yes, I'm okay. And he said, aren't you feeling any pain? I said, no. I said, I get tired, but I said, I don't feel pain. And he said, well, that's good. And then when he did the balance tests on me, he said, you got pretty good balance for, having that severe surgery. And I said, well, I practice on it. And I just keep telling myself I'm going to, in fact, I take off so many times and I forget to grab my walker and I'm halfway where I'm supposed to be. And then, I didn't get my walker. and that's what's helping me gain my balance back is the fact that I'm taking off without thinking. And I'm grateful that, I have that ability to do that without.
Yeah. The physical therapy is helping you with your balance as well.
Pardon?
I said the physical therapy is helping you with your balance as well.
Yes. Well, he did
Yeah,
me some tests today that
yeah,
showed me how to, build my muscles in my legs because he said, you got to rebuild all those muscles again. He says to be able to walk without a cane or without a walker. And I said, well, I'm going to be doing that. I says, I'm not going to be. Oh, and I said, he says, do you walk now sometimes without the walker? And I said, yeah, I forget I'm supposed to get the walker and I'm partway where I'm going. And then I realized, oh, I should have my walker.
yeah,
But it's something you don't even think about. You just do
yep,
it because you've done it, so long.
yep,
You just get up and move.
yeah.
So he said, well, that's good. He says that you're not,
Oh, she
he
froze.
didn't say baby myself, but not willing to take any chances. I just don't want to fall, but, there's always something I can grab onto.
Yeah, we just gotta be careful. So, with talking about gratitude and appreciation, in essence, living from the heart involves embracing our emotions and connecting with others on a deeper level and leading a life that's guided by love, compassion, and authenticity rather than solely relying on, again, logical reasoning and rationality. So we're kind of getting away from that. We're not getting away from it, but we're just being reminded that logic and reasoning and rationality often interferes with our heart led flow. So, in summary, authenticity is the practice of being true to oneself and expressing one's genuine thoughts, feelings, and desires without fear of judgment or rejection. It involves aligning your actions, words, and beliefs with your inner values and convictions. Living authentically requires courage, vulnerability, and a willingness to embrace both the light and the dark aspects of self. Operating from the heart means engaging with the world from a place of emotional intelligence, compassion, and authenticity. And operating from the heart involves leading with compassion, authenticity, and empathy by fostering deep connections with ourself and with others, and living a life guided by love and inner wisdom. Operating from the heart involves leading with compassion, authenticity, empathy, fostering deep connections with oneself, with others, and living a life guided by love and inner wisdom. So I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that we had some good conversation here to help us in thinking about our mindset. We've really been working on mindset so far this year, and that it is something that we need to be continually considering, working on, and digging a little bit deeper in those areas that we tend to struggle with, like our vulnerability. And it's okay to be an introvert. There's nothing wrong with being an introvert, but recognizing that there's a time when we need to step up out of that, or we're going to miss the blessing that's sitting there waiting for us if we're going to continue to hide behind the door or hide at the corner of the room when you're around other people. Thanks, Marcy. Appreciate you being here. And Amy did come in. She's in the Facebook group. And, remember I was telling you about the storm she said that they were having? She says that she encountered, she had more people and more vehicles off the road, across the road, than she'd seen in a long time. But she made it home safe and her animals are good. She has to go out to the farm and feed the horses and stuff. And I guess they were coming home from the farm when the weather turned bad. Sandra's saying she slept poorly last night. Okay, yeah, we're just about done, Sandra. If you want to go, that's fine. We appreciate you. I might sit here and chat a little bit with Mary if she still feels like she wants to hang out a little bit. But I appreciate you for being here, and we'll see you soon. But we miss Marianne, and I wanted to let you know, Marianne, that the mastermind is back on at the 4:15, which is 2:15. Well, no, we just changed time, so I think it's back to the time that it was for you before. I think you were at the same time as Sandra at 1:15, weren't you?
No, it was, I'm 3 hours behind Eastern time. So
Right.
if
So
it's
it's
7 o'clock for you, it's
no,
4
no, no.
o'clock
I'm
for me.
talking about the mastermind is at 4:15 on Tuesdays,
That's 4:15 for
which
me.
is 1:15 for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about our Tuesday night. I'm not talking about this meeting. This is the coachathon. Our mastermind meeting every Tuesday is at 4:15, which is
That's
1:15 your time.
1:15 my time. Okay.
Yeah, because we just changed time again at Easter.
Yeah. Well, I'm
But it's,
always 3 hours behind you when you
yeah,
go to daylight savings times. When
yeah,
you don't, when you
yeah,
go back to standard time, I'm 2 hours
right,
difference than you.
right. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know we're back at the 1:15 for you
1:15. Okay.
on Tuesdays.
No, this Tuesday, it was busy. I was busy from the moment I got up. I had breakfast, but I haven't had lunch.
Yeah.
I had,
No, I'm just telling you that we're back on to our regular time because Sandra had gotten a job and we were meeting at 6:30 my time. We're back
oh,
to our normal time for the mastermind. If you are not busy on Tuesdays and you want to join us, I'm just letting you know, okay?
yeah, I have things scheduled Tuesday, but I don't remember all the hours of them because
Yeah,
we
well, just
have
write it in your book
this new
and write it down.
program.
And if you can join us, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know.
Okay. I appreciate that.